Welcome back to Swiss Watch Expo. This is Angel, and this week we are taking a look at my 3 top picks for chronographs for someone with a smaller wrist. Now, everyone loves chronograph models, but sometimes they can get a little bit oversized just because of the sheer volume of parts and high-level watchmaking that's involved. But there are a few companies that actually have done an amazing job of tailoring the size of the watch, but still giving you some really great chronograph features. So let's get right into it. These watches are all considered gentleman models. However, they'll start at 35 millimeters with the DeVille from Omega. Then you'll jump into the Breitling, which is also a little bit higher at the 38 millimeter. And then this gorgeous Royal Oak Offshore from Audemars Piguet at 37 millimeters. So let's start with the smallest here. So this is your Omega De Ville. This is done in such a beautiful way. I mean, take a look at the diamonds around the bezel on this. Omega factory diamonds. You'll have that beautiful mother of pearl dial, and it has some really great texture to it. The subdials are recessed on the face of the watch. Now, just to kind of give you an idea, if you're not familiar with the chronograph models, that is essentially a watch that has what's considered complications that indicate different things, such as the small seconds indicator or a minute counter or tracking speed or something of that nature. So on this, you'll have a small indication of the seconds, also a minute counter and an hour counter. And with this DeVille, this was one that launched around the time that the coaxial escapement was launched. And what that is an improvement to the movement that gives you a lot more accuracy, a lot less friction, and just an overall better watch. So this is going to be such a great model. It has that beautiful strap that really accents the mother of pearl. And then you will have a really nice, secure deployant clasp on the back that's very easy to use. It has the push buttons here so that it opens up quite easily for you. And then, of course, the exhibition case back. One of the things I also love about this model is the elongated date wheel here at the top. You don't see really anyone else do this configuration. So you have to think about how they configured the date wheel underneath the dial so that you could display it here. It's just such a small but important detail. They've even outlined it there with metal. So just a great piece. Of course, the way that you deploy the functions is to hit the pusher here at the top. You'll see the center hands begin to sweep, and then to stop it, you'd hit that button, and then to reset it, you'll hit the bottom pusher here. So a great model from Omega, gives you a smaller chronograph. And again, this is a 35 millimeter. Next, let's take a look actually at the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshore. Now, when you think of offshore, the offshore references, if you know it, you know that it's going to be a bigger, chunkier model. But with this coming in at 37 millimeters, it really lends itself to a lot of wrist sizes. The lugs kind of taper back a little bit so that it doesn't sit too wide on the wrist. And then you have that beautiful rubber strap that's integrated here. This one is done in 18 karat rose gold. You'll still have that signature waffle pattern on the dial. And then I also, again, love the way that they've positioned the date window down between the 4 and the 5. So it's not right in your face. It makes it very easy to read the time and date simultaneously. And the juxtaposition of the color on the dial with the sub dials there just makes it stand out. And it lets people know, hey, I'm wearing a Royal Oak. So, you know, when you purchase something like this, you want people to know that you have great taste and that you appreciate high-level watchmaking. Another small detail that they've done is they've actually put a nice rubber bumper there between the bezel and the case, which I love. They could have skipped that step, but they chose not to. So again, it goes to the level of watchmaking that AP does there in their watchmaking facility. And again, you will have a nice, secure deployant clasp on the back. So again, this is great for someone, maybe a lady who wants a little bling and wants more of a bold watch, or even a gentleman who likes something a little less chunky and a little lower profile for their chronograph. Then last, but certainly not least, is this gorgeous Breitling Transocean. Now, the Transocean was introduced as a piece that kind of was a commemorative of flying across the Atlantic. So this gave you a little bit of dress, a little bit of tool as far as how you can utilize the functions of the watch. Now, if you see this from a distance, it does look very dressed from that perspective, but then you get close on it and you'll see you have this tachymeter around the outside of the dial. I love this because it is 38 millimeters, but the lugs are tapered back quite a bit. So you really only see the case of the watch. And then of course, that beautiful strap that Breitling does with the bold stitching is also one of my favorites. And then also the color of the dial with the black and white contrast. It's chic. It's clean, it's elegant, it's a great price point for something like this. If you were to look at some of the other brands, maybe like a Patek or Vacheron, you'd notice that this watch is a nice, comfortable price point for someone who loves watches, but they're just not ready to jump into that level yet. So I think 3 great models. We have so many other references here that give you a smaller chronograph, but for all of the features that you're looking for. There's even a tank from Cartier that has some chronograph features, things of that nature. So let us know down in the comments, what do you think about the sizes of these? What do you think about the configurations? And maybe some of your favorite smaller chronographs. Thanks for tuning in. This is Angel, and we'll see you next week on the next video.